Shabbat shalom. We are ready to start very quickly. Apologize for being late. I was having a lot of trouble figuring out the good title for this speech. Amazing thing, we see one of the most absolutely catastrophic events that ever happened in Jewish history during this week's Torah portion. Jewish people build a golden calf, and what happens is that they bring the gold to Aaron, and Moses on the mountain, right? And Aaron suggests to Jewish people they should bring the gold, and he throws in the fire, hoping to stall them. And what ends up happening is that the golden calf comes out, and people worship it, and it's a disaster. The amazing thing is that this was a categorical failure of leadership on Aaron's part. And Aaron was haunted by this for much of the rest of his life, right? That so much so that later on, when he's going to go try to do the job in the temple, he actually doesn't want to do it. And Moses has to be like, no, it's cool, you should do this. This is what you have to do. So there's this unbelievable idea that the more influence we have in life and the more responsibilities we have in life, when we screw up really big. And we do actually have negative consequences for the actions that we take, and we can mess up. You can again, I've done it many times. You could lose a lot of money. You could really break someone's heart. You can really crush someone's dreams. You could the higher you go up, the more you can actually practically destroy the world around you. So how do you not lose hope? How do you not freak out? How do you not get upset? There's a very fundamental idea. Our society loves certain types of people. The entrepreneur type of guy now, like everyone wants to be the free entrepreneur. The wealthy, like you look at like whoever the society, like what the society is pushing as successful, and we all want to be that. And a lot of times we fall flat and we blame ourselves. We get upset when we're not that. Right? And the amazing thing was that that Moses was the kind of leader that had the ability to smash people in the face, not practically, I mean, he probably did that also, right? But he was a person that could bring everyone back online. And as a result, we know that even when he died, not everybody loved him. People were actually, he was like he was difficult to be around. When Aaron died, everybody loved him, right? Because what Aaron's genius space wasn't being that one guy that could stand against everybody else. Aaron's genius space was when they're within the cohesive community, he could finesse and bring people together. But when you saw Aaron had to stand up and be that type of a man to stop everyone in the process, he failed and he screwed up big time. And there was really, really big consequences for what he did. So the idea is like this, and I think it's a very important purpose for life. As we grow and we start to learn about ourselves and to learn what we like to do, Noah Kagan, who's probably not watching this podcast because I don't know what his Jewish situation is. I know he's Jewish, right? But he spoke about how, we try to go where the money is, or we try to figure out what's going to really work. And he says, figure out what you're good at, figure out what you enjoy doing, figure out where you're going to have the most fun, and ultimately that's going to be where you bring the most value, and that's ultimately where you reach your genius space. And so therefore, if you're going to put someone in a different situation, again, it used to kill me. I love getting up and speaking in front of people, but could be that my good space is when I'm not speaking in front of people and I'm working with one person, holding their hand one by one, working with them. So I would watch when these big rabbis would come up, which I won't say them. I'm like, oh yeah, very cool for you. You give a big speech. That was me being really jealous, right, and being really upset, and I felt like a failure because here I was working with people one-on-one, and here this other person is like a world-famous speaker. And I was like, yeah, it's easy to be a world-famous speaker. I'm not a world-famous speaker yet, working on it. Book me for your local Shabbat tones. But the idea was, it could be I'd fall flat in those environments, and they're really good because they have their speech down to a T. And where I'm maybe good at is I'm really good at like learning and like working with a person, all of their unique individuality. So the idea is when we screw up, when we make big mistakes, could be we have to learn how to deal with it better next time. That's one thing. But the second thing is sometimes you don't beat yourself up because you can say that's not really what I'm good at. That's not what I'm good at. And just because, and this is a fundamental concept in self-help, we oftentimes take our failures and we massively overgeneralize them, right? If you get broken up with, or you like, everyone always screws me. Really? Does that really happen? One guy might have messed you over. And you're like, no, my life is over. Or, a girl breaks up with you. Oh, God, everybody breaks up. Is that really true? Do you really try that? So we overgeneralize. And so Aaron could have walked away from the golden calf and say, I'll never be a leader. This is what happened when I lead. I built the golden calf. That's my fault. And he would have gone into depression forever. Just like Noah, at the end of Noah's life. Like he was broken after the experience. right? But the greatness of Aaron was to realize that's not my space. I work in the temple. I work in the Jewish people all together. I make the Jewish people more cohesive. That's my genius. And Moses is the guy who, boom, can smash people in the face when needs to be. Rabbi Dotto, head of our wonderful school here in San Diego, Sky High, said that to the hammer, everything looks like a nail. Which was, it was a very interesting idea. I was like, well, this is how I'd act with that kid. And this is how I'd do that. And he'd be like, well, maybe that's not what you want to do. You want to try this? I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. Because that's not my personality necessarily. So the brilliance is having the broadness to realize that maybe you aren't every kind of leader, but the kind of leader you are, that's what you're supposed to be, and to really push in that direction. Shabbat shalom.